Sports Radio, 105.5 WWEI and WWEI HD1, East Hampton, Springfield. Time now for the Giant Class Sports Flash. Call 1-800-54-GIANT. For Giant.
Flash brought to you by your Boston area Mercedes-Benz dealers. The Bruins in action tonight at the TD Garden against the Ottawa Senators. It's the front end of a home-and-home series with the return game tomorrow night in Ottawa. Tuukka Rask expected to start in net. The team recalled goaltender Nicholas Svedberg from Providence today. He will serve as backup goalie tonight. Claude Julien confirmed that Daniel Paille will be back in the lineup tonight after missing 7 games with concussion symptoms. The puck drops at 7 o'clock on Causeway Street. Patriots and Bills kick off at 4:25 on Sunday in Foxborough. A win for the Pats clinches them at least the number 2 seed and a playoff bye. If Denver loses to Oakland as well, then they would claim the number 1 seed and home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. Josh Boyce and Devin McCourty once again missed practice today. Rob Ninkovich, who was limited yesterday with an ankle injury, was not spotted at the media portion of practice today. But afterwards, speaking with reporters, he did say that he practiced and would play on Sunday. Buffalo announced that quarterback Thad Lewis will get the start on Sunday. Cowboys announced today that Tony Romo had season-ending back surgery and that Kyle Orton will start Sunday against the Eagles in the winner-take-all NFC East game. And the Celtics are back on the parquet tomorrow afternoon, a matinee at 1 o'clock against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Flash brought to you by Centrum Silver. When it comes to choosing the right multivitamin brand, choose Centrum Silver. For the most amazing parts of you, visit Centrum.com to learn more. Mike Reese was on the Mutton Maloney Show earlier. If you missed it, be sure to visit the WEEI.com audio on demand page. You can also hear it on the WEEI Live app, which you can download right now at WEEI.com/app. Salk and Holly with Butch Stearns, Christian Fourier, and Andy Hart continues next. I'm Scott Sudikoff, and that's the Sports Flash.
This is Patriots Friday on Sports Radio WEEI. Patriots Friday is presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com, and by Putnam Investments, celebrating 75 years of service to financial advisors, their clients, and institutions worldwide. Salk. Holly. It's Salk and Holly on Sports Radio WEEI.
It is Salk and Holly without Mike and Mike. Christian Fourier, former New England Patriot, is here. Andy Hart of Patriots Football Weekly. I'm Butch Stearns. We're taking your phone calls as always at 617-779-7937. Text on the AT&T text line at 37937. We all know that the NFL takes that last weekend and they flex all the games once they figure out after week 16 heading into week 17. The numbers always mess me up. It's game 16, whatever, right? But it's interesting what they did this weekend. There's only one NFC game at 1 o'clock. Carolina at Atlanta, which, by the way, I think Carolina's right to lose that game. Atlanta's played some pretty good football down the stretch. They're not rolling over and dying. I think that throws. So think about this. You got one NFC game at 1 o'clock. All the rest of them are at 4:25. St. Louis at Seattle. Philly at Dallas is the 8:30 game. Green Bay at Chicago, winner take all. San Francisco at Arizona, very interesting game because at 4:25, Arizona probably has nothing to play for, or they might, who knows, the way things roll over. And then Tampa Bay at New Orleans. New Orleans and Carolina, think about that in the NFC. They could be the 2 seed, they could be the 4 seed, they could be the 5 seed, or they could be the 6 seed, depending on the way things flush out with them.
And this is what the league wants.
And
they want all this interest in the last week, the last games.
Yeah, now in the AFC, you got all the 1 o'clock games. You got Baltimore at Cincy, you got at Jacksonville at Indy, you got the Jets at Miami, and you got Cleveland at Pittsburgh. And again, the really only intrigue in the AFC is Patriots and the Broncos playing at 4:25. But that San Diego game will either mean absolutely nothing or absolutely everything. There could be 3 teams hinging on that San Diego game, with Kansas City with nothing to play for.
And I gotta think they won't. I mean, I gotta think they're gonna cameos.
Well, again, I guess
they're not getting the bye.
So
Right.
Christian, you started the show talking about how the Patriots might be thinking about this game and the way Bill might be thinking about it. If you're going to play Solder, for example, if he's 50-50 or this and that. But what if you're Kansas City? What if you're Kansas City and you've kind of limped the second half of the season? You've lost 3 in a row.
Yeah.
You've lost 1. I mean, you don't want to go into the playoffs. You're going to have a playoff game, a wild card game, no matter what. You have the bet. You're going to finish 12 wins if you win this weekend. I mean, it's a division game, but I mean, do you play to win? Do you go all out to win this game if you're Kansas City?
I think the most important thing is...
It's in San Diego, by the way.
Yeah, which is a great place to play, by the way. There's this great bar called the Beachcomber. Oh, it's
I know
fantastic.
the Beachcomber.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Just quick story. When I played for
Mission
Seattle,
Beach.
we had this deal with Coach Erickson, who actually, we went to her like, listen, if we win this game...
That's how we went right into this.
He's like, we win this game, like, can we stay in San Diego, okay, and like, we'll just catch a flight back. And he was like, all right, listen, if we win, you can stay, catch a flight back. You have to be back by like, I don't know, whatever, 2 o'clock to get your lift in. Well, anyways, the game was close, and we ended up like winning that game. I mean, half of the team ended up at the Beachcomber, and nobody got home and I think the flights left at like 7 a.m. It's like each guy like matriculated himself into the airport, like one at like 6:05, one at 6:10.
So you went into San Diego, beat the Chargers, and stayed and went out that night in San Diego?
So the charter went home empty.
That's a recipe for disaster.
Oh my God, it was. It went hard to like, it was rough. But as far as, I'll just go back to the Chiefs. As far as the Chiefs go, I think the most important thing is, God, you don't want anyone to get hurt. Right. So you don't want to go at less than 100%. So the rule of thumb is you guys get hurt when they don't give 100%. It just happens that way because they're just not as careful and bad things happen. So if you're going in there, I think you play them for a quarter, playing for a half, and then you pull them. You pull your key guys because you're not getting anything out of that. You're going to play next week. Like, not playing in the second half isn't going to change anything. But at the same time, you don't want to just slap it out there and, and have like an end on a bad play. I always thought it was important to end strong, regardless of if you were trying to win. Like, at least the starters, they needed to end
Except Baltimore, 1-4 last year, heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, but they weren't in the same situation. I mean, right? I mean, this team they are who they are. Nothing's changing. Nothing's going to change for them. Like, they're set where they're set. They're not going to get a bye.
They have some injuries. I mean, Justin Houston, I would assume, won't play. Tom Ali has had some injuries. Those type of guys might just sit out.
When you look at their second half of the season, okay, so they lost those 3 games in a row, sandwiched Denver games. They lost in Denver, which was the big game. They're both undefeated, 27-17. Then they lost to San Diego at home, 41-38, that wild one.
Yep.
Then they lost to Denver again, 35-28. The game really wasn't that close. They went into Washington, put up 45 points and won 45-10. They went into Oakland, 2 not very good teams this year, but they went into Oakland and won 56-31. Then they played Indianapolis at home and got kicked 23-7.
To me, that's the one. That's the eye opener.
But how do you figure this team?
I mean, if you want to look at just the Justin Houston injury is huge. We talked about Von Miller being a defensive player of the year type candidate. Justin Houston, based on the way the team looked early in the year with him healthy and then how they looked late when he wasn't or not even out there, he seems like he's a factor guy for them. That was the real eye-opener for me because I give them credit. I think we all thought Denver was better than Kansas City. So to lose to Denver twice, not a huge deal. Even the first one, they gave Denver their best run for the money to that point in the season, right? I mean, they did a good job against that offense. It was more than they could deal with. But I don't know how they allow the Colts to come in and just embarrass them like that. To me, that's a curious performance.
Well, again, they really don't have anything to play for, to your point, Christian. So it'll be interesting how they do play and what factor it has in the playoffs. I mean, they were the pick to click. They were 9-0.
Yeah. While we're on it, I actually think they're the worst matchup for the Patriots. If we're going to talk about matchups, that would scare the hell out of the Chiefs.
And I know they
put pressure on the quarterback. The defense is good. Even though we've seen some hiccups here, I think that defense is good. Especially, I'm assuming that Justin Houston will be out there by that time. And then offensively, you look at it, they have a quarterback who just doesn't make mistakes. He's got 8 picks in like 500 attempts. The Patriots need mistakes. Yeah. They need interceptions.
So the only way
Kansas City...
And they need bad coaching. I don't think you're going to get it from
You're probably not going to get it.
Yeah.
I mean, even though there's some questions way back in the day in the Super Bowl about the clock management.
That was more Donovan McNabb.
Yes, and he was vomiting.
I'm sick.
Andy Reid is a pretty good coach. You're not going to probably get him to throw up on himself like his quarterback did. And you look at Jamal Charles. I have questions about this run defense. That's a guy that averages 5 yards a carry and is their leading receiver. Do you like the matchup of Jamal Charles on, say, Dante Hightower? No, I don't like that matchup. I think... And, oh, by the way, they have a lot of returns for kickoffs. So if you want special teams to factor in, I think the Chiefs are a dangerous team coming
Well,
here.
the only way, assuming that Denver doesn't stumble in Oakland and the Patriots get the number 2 seed, then the only way Kansas City's coming here in the second round is if Miami wins the first round playoff game.
Right.
Because Kansas City's a 5 seed.
But I don't eliminate anything. I mean, once the matchup, Miami, Is it the Miami that I saw beat the Patriots? Okay, I think that Miami could probably win that first round playoff game. Is it the Miami that loses to the Bills? Okay, they're not going to win that playoff game.
If the favorites win this weekend, if things happen like we think they will, and usually one game throws a wrench into it.
They won't. I guarantee they will not.
Yeah, well, like
the way this season is gone.
Okay, so, one thing I look at is, I think Carolina's going to lose to Atlanta if I had to make a prediction. I don't know in the AFC, though.
That's a hot sports take. Does picking Carolina to lose? That's a hot sports take.
I mean, do you think that? I mean, the big question is, are the Patriots going to beat the Bills?
I just noticed you have a Lions hat on.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
People are texting about that.
I support the Lions. I support the Lions. My nephew plays for the
Jumping
Lions.
on the bandwagon.
I was always on the bandwagon.
Remember when you were the famous Fourier in the family?
I know, right?
Remember when you were the touchdown scorer?
I know, right?
Remember when you had the cool touchdown celebration?
I know.
All that's gone. It's all gone.
I know.
One year he wiped you out.
I know, isn't that crazy? 13 years.
You were a home run hitter, though. You had like 8 catches and 7 touchdowns.
I know.
Right?
Well, it's funny. I was never on Jimmy
Remember when you used to trip on... That's true.
I was never on Jimmy Fallon.
I used to make fun of you, though. It seemed like you would trip on yard markers. Like you'd catch this pass in the open field, try to put a move on, and just fall down.
No, I had no open field running ability.
Right. I mean,
there was
literally tackling yourself.
I really had no speed. I had short area quickness, which and I knew where to go.
SAQ.
So it was fine. So I used to love it when like faster guys would come and with obviously more running ability, just flat out more ability. I just open.
Okay now. See, Joe Sway took care of on that one.
He's just telling stories now.
Curran dropped one of those the other day too.
See, now that I know that you said that about me, I might have to think of you differently.
I got to admit, I
did dub you Scorier though.
Yeah.
I dubbed you Scorier. Yeah, I did.
Oh, I thought that was Brian Lowe.
No, that was me.
I did like your.
And you jumped on the 20.
Your jump spike that you did, but I got to admit, when you did it, I always wanted just once the ball to jump right back up and
eventually, like I always thought that would happen, or I had this fear that I would spike it, then I would fall, and I would land, and the ball would be like right on my ankle, and I would twist my ankle, like break my ankle or something like that. I'd be like, yeah, I mean, right, that would totally suck, but it never happened. It never happened. There's a key. There is a format to it. You know, you
did you practice it?
No, the first time I ever did that was I was in Seattle, and it's just. You know, even when I did it here, it was like I was wide open and ran in the end zone. I had nothing to do. I was like, oh, well, geez, I got to buy some time somehow. Jump up.
Well, the best part of it is it's sort of old school.
Whoa. What was that?
I don't know. I got some people listening from the other room. 617-779-7937 to join us. Christian Fourier, Andy Hart, and Butch Stearns talking a lot of football. Sal Palantonio is going to join us at 4. Jaws, Ron Jaworski, going to join us at 3:30. Again, the Patriots play at 4:25 against the Buffalo Bills. I guess we could play Belichick and talk ourselves into that the Bills are going to come in here and really give them a good game. Do you see it? I guess so. I guess I wouldn't be shocked.
I do.
Every game's close they play, right?
Yeah,
pretty much, except for last week. Here's a question. Do we have a false sense of who they are because they played their best 60-minute football game last week?
Yes. I think, and I gave them credit for the victory. I just want to say that. I gave them credit. I said going into that game, if you win in Baltimore, I have to give you credit for something you haven't really done this year. On the road, tough team, blah, blah, blah. Sort of the Logan Mankins things. He was kind of mad that everybody doesn't think they're physical and they can't do that. Well, you showed me. Okay, you did it. But it really worked out well for you. I mean, the way that game unfolded, you got a 34-yard PI that set up your first touchdown. You got a 34-yard pass to set up your second. And you got a lead on a quarterback who sucked, who just couldn't throw that day. And it just sort of all snowballed from there. The offense wasn't really all that good throughout the day, consistently. They were good enough, and they did what we asked them to do. You got to score in the red zone. You can't score in the red zone.
They finished running the ball.
Right,
which was you were looking for.
Which was great, phenomenal that they were able to do that. But overall, I think that game really fell into place the way they would like it to. And so, you know, you had the quarterback throwing the ball. They could have 3 more picks. Yeah. If Devin McCourty could have caught the ball, they literally could have had 3 more picks in that game.
Flacco and that's my point to this game. This is not, because I'm looking, when I watch the game, when I watch the tape and I break it down, I'm trying to find, okay, where's the weak spot and what's going to hurt us, looking at matchups, you know, and I look at the defensive line, I look at the ability, their ability, the Buffalo Bills' ability to run the ball, to commit to it. Is Thad Lewis some awesome quarterback? No, but I think he's good enough. He's serviceable enough. He can make some plays with his legs. He has some good weapons. Stevie Johnson isn't going to play, but he still has Fred Jackson and C.J. Spiller. I think that's where they're going to be hurt. So you commit to stopping that run and leave guys open one-on-one on the outside, and hopefully the defensive backs can shut those guys down.
And maybe you don't have McCourty,
Yeah.
Who is sort of your calming force back there in the back end, the deep guy that keeps it all together. You haven't played without him yet this year. That's a scary thought. And as Patriots observers, we've been sort of proven over the years, don't overlook the other quarterback.